I'm Allison, and this is Dream Anyway, a podcast for those of us who feel the pull to create, even when the path isn't clear. So wherever you are in your journey, grab a coffee, get comfy, and dream anyway.
Hi, my name is Emily Flynn-DeLay. I'm an artist here in Spokane, Washington, born and raised, and I do a lot of painting and sculpture, but kind of just dabble in everything.
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 32.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You are my favorite artist locally. Well, not even locally, anywhere. And your art is, I don't know how to explain it, except for me, like heartbreakingly beautiful.
I feel like that really does kind of sum it up.
Yeah.
My mom kind of pointed this out at the last show she went to. And she was like, you have a tendency to lean towards nothing's perfectly happy or perfectly beautiful. There's always this little bit of like sadness or some sort of like flaw or evocative kind of nature about it, where it's not perfectly innocent or perfectly mean. You know, there's always an edge of something.
I really love that because I think that is what makes a person beautiful.
And I think that's what I strive to kind of portray is people. Like this is a person, not an idea.
I think I'm so drawn to it because that's what I'm always trying to do in my art, in photography, especially to capture somebody in all their kookiness.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say not perfection because it is. You know, for me, I think it's just, you're perfect just the way you are.
My art is so bright and like, so it's almost like overexposed in a lot of sense. Like the colors are more vibrant and the darks are more dark. And, you know, sometimes the highlights are really highlighted. I feel like it's the way I see something. And I'm trying to like get that across because I feel like I see color so much more vividly than I feel like other people see it. And I'm just trying to get them to kind of get that sense of something. If I have a yellow, it's like a bright yellow. If I want like a disgusting green, like it's a disgusting green.
And have you always been true to yourself as an artist? I mean, have you always known this?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I kind of regret going to art school a little bit because I lost that. And I kind of just started catering towards my professors' preferences. You know, they taught me a lot and I learned a lot about, you know, the mechanics of art. But I did kind of lose my passion for it in that way that I was like, I wasn't doing what I wanted to be doing anymore. Yeah.
Well, how did you find your voice again?
I kind of gave up on art a little bit. I was like, you know what? I don't want to be doing this anymore. I don't want the pressure. I don't want the expectations. And like I said, I'd kind of just always known that I was going to be an artist. Like for forever, I was just like, well, that's just what I'm going to be. I'm just always going to be one. And kind of tried a little bit right after college because that's what I went to college for. The expectations of it were a lot more disappointing, or the reality was a lot more disappointing than the expectations.
The reality of being a professional artist? Yeah.
Kind of what people expect from a professional artist versus like who I was, you know, and everybody wanted me to be like, you know, starving and sad and I wasn't any of those things. And I didn't have a tragic backstory that I wanted to talk about. And I didn't have political or, you know, religious affiliations that I wanted to talk about. And so it was kind of like, okay, she does pretty pictures, you know.
Oh,
so what?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so what? So I kind of just started doing art for myself, you know, and the people that enjoyed it. And I kind of found my voice more through what I wanted to talk to other people about rather than what I wanted to say, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah. I think that's why I started a podcast, because it's what I want to talk about. And I like that you're the one talking.
Yeah.
Rather than me the one talking. And that's why I think I like photography.
Yeah.
Because it's somebody else's image, but I get to sort of tell my story.
Yeah. I was much more interested in starting a conversation than making a statement.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I felt like people wanted to see as an artist. They wanted you to make these statements and, you know, make a splash or your piece de resistance. And I was like, I don't want that. I don't want to tell people what to think.
Is this true of you? For me, I thought, well, I don't know anything. And so how could I possibly tell anybody else? So I'll interview somebody else, let them tell their story, but I'll still get my idea across because they're saying exactly what I want to say. But I don't think I know anything.
Yeah. And I feel like so similar to this. When people are talking, I'm more interested in like finding common ground. And like, I'm so hungry for knowledge at the same time. Like, I want to know what other people think, because I know that what I think cannot be the end all be all of everything, you know? And I know I don't know everything. And so I'm like, whenever I bring up a topic, I'm really interested to know other people's viewpoints. And so I kind of feel the same way in my art, where I'm like, here's a topic that I have noticed, or I've, like to discuss. Please talk to me about this.
I really love that. My least favorite quality in a person is a know-it-all. So I like people who don't think they know it all. I mean, not that you don't have any opinions, but that you're open to others.
And I can definitely be a know-it-all. There's certain things where somebody can bring up a topic and I can be insufferable.
Tell me what.
What's
the topic? So I don't bring it up. No. Well, I don't think I know it all. It'll be fine.
I guess like when somebody is obviously wrong about something that is a fact.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of opinion, and like you can feel a certain way about something. But when people are like, this red ball is green.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're colorblind.
Right.
And they're like, no, the ball is green. And I'm like,
I don't
think so.
Yeah. So you stand up for what's right.
When somebody is like so staunchly for a certain topic that they cannot listen to any other opinions, I have that kind of demon on my shoulder that automatically wants to argue the opposite, even if I don't believe it.
Oh, that's funny.
Like if somebody's too confident about what they think and they believe, I want to point, like I want to pick at it a little bit. I want to mess with that confidence, because I'm like, you cannot be that confident about something.
I really do hate know-it-alls, even if they actually do know it. So I totally get that.
If I think I know I'm right and somebody is like, here's the evidence, then I'm the first person to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. But if somebody's just being a dickhead and they're like, I'm right and you're wrong, and here's no evidence.
I like being open to the idea that I'm not right. Where are you showing right now?
I'm not showing anywhere right now. I kind of take a break during the winter months because I live kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's hard to kind of commit to dates and things like that when I might get snowed in. From like October through like January, I usually kind of leave a gap. And I kind of use that time to like apply for grants and, next year's lineup, and kind of get a lot of work done at the same time.
Yeah, that's nice.
And my husband got me a new tablet laptop. And so I've been playing with that a lot, of like digital painting.
Like Procreate?
Yeah.
So good.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love it.
It definitely is fun. And it has a lot of tools that I feel like make it a little bit more accessible.
Yeah, more accessible. Yeah. I've taken one art class, but the class, I don't think she taught us. I think we just were there and she was there. And you were supposed to know what you were doing, but the whole point was the class. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I've had art classes that were like that they were just like, explore your expression. And I'm just like, cool, can you show me how to use this? Recently, I did a live painting session at 33 Artists Market. Have you been to one of those?
No, I haven't been.
They're very fun. A lot of different artist booths and lots of people, from the community, and they're always in different places. So it's kind of different people every time.
Yeah.
And so I did one with the Artist Collective, and I did live painting for, I think it was a 4-hour thing, but it was an interesting experience because I got to talk to so many different people. And at one point there was like this little girl who's like maybe 9 years old, 10 years old. And like her mom was like encouraging her to talk to artists and things like that. So it's like, I could tell she was interested. And like, I could kind of hear them talking behind me as I was painting, of being like, go and ask, go, you can do that,
That's cute.
And she kind of came up and she was like, I really like your painting and I like your colors. And where do you decide to do this color? And I was just like, we were talking for maybe 20 minutes, And at one point she was like, how do you start a painting? And I was like, well, usually I use like a projector and I project, the portrait on there first. And then I just like kind of draw on the key points. And she's like, oh, like tracing? And I was like, yeah, exactly. I trace, where the eyes meet and, where the lips are. And she was like, and that's okay. And I was like, yeah, that's
awesome.
That's okay. And I was like, you can trace. And I was like, you can copy a painting down to the last detail. Because you're learning, And I was like really encouraging her, because I don't know who told her that tracing was so bad.
I feel like it's cheating. I also think that.
a lot of people are like, oh my God, tracing is so, and it's like, you can't learn a line just by like freehand repeating it.
That's good to know because I can't. You're right.
I almost kind of went into tattooing, and one of the things they told me to practice was like line work. And they do it, calligraphers do this, and tattoo artists have like, they tell their assistants to do this, where it's just literally you draw lines and you draw like circles and, C's and all the like components that make up an image, like in their basic form. And you'll just do it hundreds and hundreds of times. And it'll be like, okay, draw an inch, like freehand an inch on a page. Well, you have to start with a line to start with.
Right.
And so what you'll do is you'll have like a pencil and you'll draw like a circle. You'll use a projector, draw a perfect circle, draw a perfect line, draw a perfect whatever. And then you take your pen and you trace over that basically until you cut it out of the page to teach your muscles like how to do that. And so I used to do that because my mom taught me calligraphy, and she used to like, you'd have lines on the page where the letters start and end. Right. And it's like, without those lines, how do you know where the letters go?
Right. That's good.
It's not cheating. It's using the tools that are available to you. And eventually you get to the point where you don't need them because your muscle memory is just so practiced. But like, to fault somebody who's learning and doesn't have that muscle memory for using the tools is just insane.
Well, right. I mean, I feel that way about photography and editing podcasts. I don't know why I feel guilty about, I guess because you assume art is, it's your expression and it's free and but I mean, my photography is my expression and I still use helpful tools.
I said it to the little girl as well. I was like, as long as you're honest and you're giving credit where credit's due, you're not saying this is my painting and this is my original idea. You're going, this is my painting of this other painting. Then that's fine. And you should be honest with, oh, I'm learning or I'm using this tool. And I think it's important to know how to do it if you need to. But I don't think it's wrong to use something to get better.
No, I love that. That's great advice. I'm so glad she was brave enough to come up to you.
I remember getting that same thing from people when I was younger. Is I would get all these books from people, like Disney was great at that they would release books about how to draw their cartoons. And I remember sitting there and I would draw in the books. I would draw over the little, like how to draw the things. And I don't know, my friend was like, can I borrow this? And she was like, oh, you drew in it. And I was like, well, yeah, it's a learning book. Why wouldn't I draw in it? That's what it's for.
I love that.
But that kind of idea that like you shouldn't use tools that are there. Why not?
I so appreciate that. And I'm sure other artists that are listening to this that are just learning things will really appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for somebody who wants to be an artist full time?
I guess know what's right for you. Just because people say like you have to do art full time to be serious isn't true. I did this for 3 to 4 years, where I was just kind of, when I had opportunities, I would take opportunities, but it didn't mean that I wasn't serious about it. I still had my day job, but I still worked really hard on my paintings. And anybody who's like, oh, you're only doing it part-time, then that means you're not serious. That's just crazy.
Yeah, I like that.
Because you could spend your entire life working in the kitchen at the school and doing, vendor fairs on the weekends, and you're still a serious artist.
And you're an artist, I think, as long as you're creating, period. Do you think that?
You don't have to show your work to anybody else to be considered an artist.
Right.
It's completely a self journey. I didn't learn that through myself. I learned that through my mom, because she's that person that is so talented and didn't really have the opportunity to explore it just because of circumstance.
Is she a good artist?
She is a great artist. She doesn't consider herself an artist. And I think maybe more recently, because of our pressure, she kind of does. But she had the same mindset where she's like, oh, if she's not showing at galleries or she's not doing paintings or being published in a magazine, she's not an artist. And that's just not true, because she's one of the most talented people I've ever met. And she considers herself a crafter. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what you're making. Like, she's like, oh, well, I just do crafts. And,
she feels
I
more
just
comfortable
do this.
with the title.
Yeah. She doesn't feel comfortable calling herself an artist because like society has deemed that what she does is not art.
I've been a graphic designer for 30 years and it took me so long to even say graphic artist. Like I couldn't claim the word either. It took me half my lifetime. So it is an interesting thing that it keeps people from creating because of fear of they're not going to be an artist, the word. Do you feel very emotionally attached to all your art?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Well, especially, I mean, your art is emotional. So
yeah, now I do. I think more.
Now that you're doing something that's meaningful to you. When I edit a photo, I feel very intimate with that person because, I've seen every inch of their face and things I shouldn't see probably, With painting, do you feel the same way? Like you're knowing the person way better than or more intimately than normal?
Yeah, especially since my portraits, I often deviate from the reality, which is why people are like, oh, it's hyperrealism or it's photorealism. It's not really because I change too many things.
Yeah.
I'll kind of highlight things that might not be there or change maybe the way somebody's eyes look in order to make it more appealing.
Yeah.
And I make those decisions based on just kind of how I feel, based on whether I like it or not. And it completely, those little choices really have an effect on how I feel about the finished product. I don't care whether anybody else likes it or not. That's what I wanted to do. And it used to be, I kind of got my start in commission work where I would do paintings, portraits for people. And so when you do that kind of portraiture, it's not about how you feel about it. Right. It's about how the person feels about it because it's their son or it's their father or it's their dog. It's completely hinged on how the client feels about the finished product. And so I can't have an emotional connection to that piece because I know it's going to go, It's more emotionally draining to work on something you don't care about. You almost have to fake the emotion to get it done.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at some point, like I have to care enough about this piece. And if I'm making up emotion, that means I'm bringing emotion from nowhere.
That's really true.
And that's draining, where it's like when I'm working on a piece that I really care about or that is really exciting, I almost have unlimited energy for it.
Same. Oh my gosh. And that's, what's terrible about that is those kind of projects I do for free. And the paying ones are the ones, the paying photography jobs are the ones like they have, it's not as exciting because it's not exactly what I want to be doing. So that's a really interesting thing because I'm like, why did I spend so much time on this one that paid me nothing? But it's the art, just the whole idea of making something.
Yeah. It's like the survival. It's, am I feeding my stomach or am I feeding my soul kind of conversation? Is this to afford my next meal or is this to make me happy?
Yeah. Well, is there anything I haven't asked you about that you want to talk about?
I'm not sure. I guess, how do you like Spokane? Like the Spokane community in terms of like art?
I feel, you're asking me and I'm the interviewer, but I feel left out.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
It is, I do feel like it is kind of a secluded, it's like a kind of cafeteria lunchroom,
Yes, it definitely feels that way.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised you feel that way. I'm sad you feel that way. You're so talented. And so where do you feel left out from?
I mean, I came back from school and I tried kind of doing the full-time thing and I did everything my teachers told me to do, And because I went to an art school, I was fairly confident in, my skills. And I was like, I have the kind of portfolio that they're looking for because I just spent the last 2 years of all my teachers, carefully molding my portfolio into what people are looking for. And, I sent it to all the different places and I got so much of the same and contradictory feedback.
Like what?
Which was, it's not for us or you're not experienced enough. Do you have a following?
Oh,
I'm sorry, maybe look here. And it's like, I've already contacted them and they said it wasn't right. And so it's very odd.
Do you think if you had a story, if you had trauma, if you had a something to go with it? So this is what I think about my own photography journey is that, and this has been true my whole life. I've just I'm a good artist and have no business sense.
Yeah.
And I think if I was a good marketer, I'd be doing great.
Yeah.
I know photographers that aren't great photographers, but they have good marketing and they're doing so well.
Yeah. I feel that so hard. Yeah. I did the same thing where I literally had somebody contact me to show with them, and they had me come in. They were like a friend of a friend of mine who showed them my work. And this was years ago. And they showed them my work and they were interested, and they asked me to come into the gallery. And when I showed up and showed the person my stuff, they were like, "Who told you? Who said that?" And like, I felt so embarrassed. I was standing in the middle of this gallery and they were like, "No, we don't have time for this. Like, this isn't how we handle this." And they were like, "This is so unprofessional." And I was like, "I was told to come here. I'm so confused." And so I just I never contacted them again. I was just like, this isn't what I asked for. And it was kind of like that, where they asked me like, "How much does your stuff sell for?" And I was like, "This is how I price my stuff." And they were like, "Oh no, that's not in our market." They were selling like, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like my stuff was selling for like hundreds.
Did you ever reach out to the person who told you to go there?
I told my friend who had, talked to them, and they were like, "Oh no, that was just so-and-so. There must have been a misunderstanding, And I was like, "Well, I'm not really interested anymore. I don't think it's the right fit. If that's the person that's at the front of your door interacting with artists, I don't think your gallery is the place for me, if that's how you talk to your artists." And then there was just various interactions kind of like that, where it was just not the right fit, or not this, not that, even though I was looking at the pieces in their, collection and thinking, not to be too big-headed, but I was like, mine's better than that.
I totally hear you. So what does that say about us? It means we are confident in our work. I do feel like it's very cliquey.
Mm-hmm.
And the same artists keep getting chosen like for the same grants and opportunities.
But I wish it was less solitary. I wish there were still openings for just art. And there's so many places now that are like, you have to check these boxes in order to show here at all.
Do you feel terrain bridges that gap?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was, like I said, 10 years ago that it was like that. And I feel like it's so much better now. There is a lot more opportunities for people who are just artists trying to be artists.
Yeah.
Instead of artists trying to be celebrities. And I feel like that's what it was 10 years ago, is if you were not an artist trying to be a celebrity, nobody had time for you.
I see. What advice would you give somebody who is hearing this, though? Is it just create for the pleasure of creating and hopefully it'll make it out in the world?
Early on, I did have this assumption that, if I don't want to be a starving artist, if I don't want to be like, I have to change my art, I have to change myself for what people want. There's this kind of famous thing that one of our teachers did, which was she had a lesson that was just put a bird on it. It was just whatever you make, like whatever's your style, just put a bird on it.
That's
and
funny.
It'll sell.
Did it?
Because
did you do that?
It was true. It was 100% true. You put a bird in anything and it sells. 10 years ago, it was the put a bird on it fad. And
I've never heard that. That's so funny.
We all did it. It was all our most like raved about kind of piece, where it was like in a collection of all of our stuff. They'd be like, "But I really like that one." And we're like, "Why?"
I did a painting that I hated that everybody liked. And it was so stupid. It was just rain coming down with a couple underneath an umbrella. I hated this painting, and it was the most talked about, and it was the most cheesy. I hated it.
There are certain things that are universal. There's imagery that everyone relates to. I feel that specifically with my work because I do portraiture, and some people can be like, "Well, it's just the same thing over and over again. It's the face." And it's like, well, you could say that about everything, but it's the relatability of it. There's certain imagery that everyone can kind of see themselves in or see themselves a part of. And the human face is like the epitome of that. Yeah. I am literally taking advantage of the part of your brain that is like primate, that is like, I see a human face and I like it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm constantly telling anybody in front of my camera, if you're going to look away from me, just look to the right or left of me so I can still see your eyes. Because I think the eyes tell the whole story.
They are.
And without the eyes, I got nothing.
Yeah. And we are kind of programmed to look for the eyes.
Yeah.
We want to look into somebody's eyes because like we do see a lot and we kind of dissect a lot.
I get looking off. It's very pretty also, but at least I still want to see some of your eyes. Anyway, that's the most common thing I utter.
Yeah. A lot of our language is from body language, but also a lot of it is through the eyes, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a funny thing we did learn in art school was that if you cover the eyes, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
It's an immediate cheat code to making things look mysterious and powerful. And I really fought against that in art school. And I was like, anytime somebody had like something across the eyes or whatever, I was like, cheater, you know, because it's such a cheat. You can't see the eyes. And so automatically something is mysterious.
I see.
And people like it. And that was my umbrella is like, I did one painting where I had, you know, somebody covering their eyes or like I had the eyes replaced by something and they were like, oh, I love it so much. And the eyes are my favorite thing.
Same. Oh, that's really interesting.
There's a famous painting where there's like an apple in front of his face.
Oh, yeah.
Like you'll see it if you look through art history as you get into kind of modern art where they start kind of distorting and kind of manipulating the viewer specifically. And they start using those tricks to get pieces to seem more important than they are. And that hiding the eyes, you see it constantly.
It's almost not a portrait without the eyes.
It's not. I don't think it is. I want my subject connecting with the viewer because they're not really conveying the emotion that I want them to convey unless they're connecting to the person.
You take pictures of people first and then paint from that?
Yeah, I used to just kind of take reference pictures and then kind of edit them or distort them the way that I wanted it to be or add elements. And then I've only recently started taking pictures myself or like setting up the pictures beforehand and working with different photographers.
Oh, fun.
Which I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I have a lot more control for one about the what I want to say, you know, instead of relying on hopefully finding a picture or being able to distort it in order to say the message that I'm trying to portray. And it's also a lot of fun because I'm such a person that I don't want to tell people how to think. And I'm also the same way when I work with models. I don't know if you're this way, but I like collaborating with models.
I 100% do not know what somebody's going to wear.
Yeah.
It's up to you. I always say that. What do you want to portray?
Awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I can make it look good. I can light it right. Yeah. But I want to see you. I want you to come out through this. And so if I tell you what to wear, I don't think that's true to you. So what do you feel good in? What do you feel terrible in? You know, I really think it's so important that the model, whoever it is, professionally or for fun, is portrayed the way they hope to be portrayed.
Yeah.
In any emotion.
I feel like I gravitate more towards people to be subjects rather than models. I've worked with a professional model. That was what they do. And I didn't like it. Like,
I mean, even like somebody who comes in for a headshot, I call them a model. Yeah. Because I don't know what else to call them.
Yeah. And so that's why I've kind of changed because
I like that.
I hire a lot of different people. Like I hire actors, I hire friends.
Actors are the best because they have the best faces.
Exactly. They can know how to emote. Yes. And that's what I really want. I want to capture a moment. I want to capture a feeling. And like models are trained to eradicate that for whatever they're selling. You know, if they're selling an orange, they want them to be happy to be eating the orange, but not anything else. Right. There's no complex emotions. They want it to be pretty still.
The terrible trend of Botox, where now they can't even show me an emotion.
Yeah. And I get it in fashion. They want the clothes to shine, but that's not what I'm interested in.
I'm always telling somebody to look mad or think of somebody they love. I'm always looking for an emotion.
This series that I'm doing is the name series, and I worked backwards from titles. So I started just collecting phrases and kind of interesting things that I would overhear or like see in a movie or online. And I'd be like, taken out of context, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And I just started compiling them in a list in my phone. And I was like, I'm going to make these painting names. For a while, I was trying to like assign them to an already finished painting. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. These need to have their own moment by themselves. But I didn't like the fact that I was assigning what these meant and what they look like.
Yeah.
And so instead, I started hiring models or subjects.
Yeah, I like that.
And I just would send them all of the different prompts and have them kind of digest them themselves and then get back to me. And then we would discuss it together about how to make that a finished painting and like what kind of photo we would have to take to get that finished painting. And it was such a like amazing experience collaborating with all these different people. And one of the prompts was, I wasted death on you. And I got it from playing Cards Against Humanity. And we were playing with my grandmother. And my grandmother always has the most insane out of pocket, like card combinations where we're like, really, Grandma? She is definitely a card shark. And so she got into it and she was playing the game and she put down death as one of like the cards for a prompt in the game. And we didn't get the reference because of the age gap. And she was so irate. And she was just like, I wasted death on you? On you?
Oh, that's funny.
Because it was like my brother or somebody else who was just like Gen Z who did not understand. And we were just like on our knees laughing. But I was like, this is such a random line to take out of context.
Yeah.
From that chaos, I sent it to an actor / model / producer that I know. And she wanted to be part of the project. And I sent her all the things. And she was like, this one really I connect with. Her cousin had just died. And he was just the most amazing person. And she's like, I don't know how to portray this. I don't know what it would look like, but I feel this one so strongly. And she's like, I feel like it sums up all my emotions I'm feeling right now, which is why him? Like, why'd you waste death?
Right.
Why did he have to die? You know, it was such a waste. That's perfect. It's not anything I would have come up with.
Right.
It's not the painting that I would have done because I had this completely different connotation based on it.
Yeah.
And what we ended up doing was setting up a camera in kind of this very similar, just kind of interview scenario. And we lit it perfectly, you know, kind of to be dramatic and everything. And then I just asked her, you know, we just had a conversation about him and about death and like our feelings about everything.
Yeah.
And then I took the recording and took screen grabs of the conversation. And so it's going to end up being a triptych of the different moments from the interview. And those are going to be the final paintings. And it was like, from where it started to where that ended was such an organic kind of journey. But I couldn't have done it without her, without like my brother, who was the makeup artist, without the videographer who we worked with. And he had suggestions about lighting and, you know, props and all of this and like a smoke machine. And my original idea was to do this menacing like shadow of death hanging over her as she's like pleading, like, why? And I was like, it was so overly dramatic, you know, and so kind of too much to the point.
Yeah.
And what the finished paintings are going to be is so much more true to her and her vision of that. And it's so much more special through that collaboration.
Yeah, it can't happen without the two of you.
No, exactly.
Usually I ask about, do you know what you want your legacy to be? But you seem so young. Have you thought about that?
I mean, I have thought about it a lot because there was so much pressure early on. Everybody in my life had always kind of known that I was artistic, that that's what I was going to be. And so I've always heard the phrase like, oh, when you're a famous artist, you know, and then kind of coming to terms with, you know, I might not ever be a famous artist, you know, and that's okay. And I don't know if I would want to, you know what I mean?
I definitely know. And I learned it through somebody I interviewed who was a multimillionaire and his goal was to be on the cover of, I think it was Fortune magazine, whatever it was, Success magazine. Anyway, it came to pass.
Oh, yeah.
And then nothing, he said, nothing changed. My life didn't change.
Yeah.
But I think the point is that no amount of success or fame or the money or anything will give you the light up that you have creating.
Yeah. And I have such an interesting relationship with dreams and like accomplishment and goals, I guess, is because I think like the definition of those different things hits a bit differently for me, because I define a dream as something that you cannot get. It's something that doesn't exist in the real world. And so if you dream of something, it means that you have the expectation that you will never have that.
Okay.
You know, and so, but goals are something that I can work towards, something that I can accomplish. So when people ask, what's your dream? I'm like, well, I have a lot of different dreams. Like I have a dream to live on Mars, or like I have a dream to marry a spider. Those are things that do not exist. Yeah. But like, if I have a dream that I want to like have a show in the Sydney Opera House or something like that, that's because I don't expect that to come true.
Mm.
What I want out of my life, what I want from my goals and my accomplishments is to be happy and spend my time with people I love and, you know, raise my dogs and give them the best life that they can have and spend as much time with people before they go as I possibly can, you know, and hopefully have more good days than bad. But those are like day-to-day things. I don't want my legacy to be something that was accomplished in a moment. I want it to be, she was a good person every day of her life. She did good things in her life. She was a happy person. And so I see those everyday accomplishments as the ultimate goal, which is kind of not usually how people see it.
I absolutely love that. And I'm so glad you're young and know that, because for me, happiness is remembering to notice the sun coming in the window.
Yeah.
That is all there is, truly. And the rest of it's gravy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely just the tiny little moments that matter.
It's all about making the life that you want to have and living that life.
Right.
Not, I guess, striving for something that might never happen.
Along the same lines of, you know, somebody can win an Academy Award one year and then fall down from grace. There is no end thing that's going to be the answer, is my point. It's all about the journey.
I feel like that's what I struggled with as an artist, was people wanted me to sacrifice my daily happiness for an eventual maybe kind of thing, where they were like, well, you'll never be a successful artist if you don't sacrifice your sleep, if you don't sacrifice your food, your happiness, your relationships. You know, you need to give up this in order to have that. And I'm like, I don't agree. I don't think that should be the ultimate goal. I think I should try to have my happy life. And then if I eventually get famous, or if people like my work, then that's cool. If I do get famous for my work, I really hope it's for the right reasons. I hope it's because people connect with them and people love them. I want it to be about the art.
It is so beautiful. It stops me in my tracks every time I see it. So I'm sure somebody else is thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I hope to make artwork that I love and hopefully other people love. But that's the ultimate goal, is that I love it.
Yeah, I think you're succeeding.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. New episodes drop every Thursday.